Every human being, no matter how brave, how wise or how strong, carries within them a silent question that whispers in the quietest corners of their mind. What truly happens after death? It's a question that doesn't fade with age, knowledge or belief. It lingers, waiting for a moment of stillness to rise again, like a wave returning to the shore. When the final breath leaves the body, when the heartbeat slows into silence, when eyes close for the very last time, where does the essence of that person go? Do they vanish into nothingness, or do they step through a hidden doorway into another reality that lies beyond the limits of our understanding? This thought alone is enough to shake even the strongest soul. For some, death is a terrifying end, a full stop, the ultimate darkness that erases everything they have ever been. But for others, death is not the end of existence. It is merely the end of a chapter, a transition from one form of life to another. It is not destruction but transformation. The mystery of death is one of the few truths that unite every person who has ever lived. No matter our race, belief, wealth or power, we all walk toward that same inevitable moment. Yet it is not death itself that defines us. It is how we understand it, how we prepare for it, and what we believe lies beyond it. The soul, that invisible, unmeasurable essence within us, has been the subject of wonder and debate for centuries. Scientists may study the body, philosophers may question the mind and poets may describe the heart, but none can capture the weightless presence of the soul. When a person dies, their body remains. The same skin, the same face, the same hands, yet something is missing. That spark, that invisible energy that made them alive, thinking, loving, feeling, it's gone. Where did it go? Did it fade into the air, or did it travel somewhere unseen? That is where the mystery deepens, where human understanding begins to bow before the vastness of the unknown. Every culture, every religion, every civilization throughout time has tried to explain this mystery. The ancient Egyptians believed the soul would journey through the underworld, facing trials before reaching eternal peace. In Hinduism, the soul is eternal, merely changing bodies like a traveler changing clothes, moving through cycles of birth, death and rebirth until it attains liberation. Christianity speaks of heaven and eternal life, a place of divine light where the soul rests in peace with its creator. Islam describes the soul's journey beyond the grave, where it awaits judgment and the reward or consequence of its earthly life. As Buddhism teaches that death is not the end but a transformation, as consciousness flows from one existence to another like a river that never ceases. Peace. Even outside religion, people who have faced near-death experiences describe something remarkable. Visions of tunnels filled with light, sensations of floating above their bodies, and feelings of overwhelming peace, love and acceptance. Some speak of seeing loved ones who had passed away years ago, welcoming them with smiles and warmth. Others describe an unexplainable sense of understanding, as if every question they ever had suddenly made sense in that timeless moment. Are these visions merely tricks of the dying brain, or are they glimpses of what truly lies beyond the physical? Science cannot fully explain consciousness, that self-awareness that makes us us. So perhaps the answer to where humans go after death does not belong to science at all, but to something much greater than what can be measured or seen. Imagine for a moment that death is not a full stop, but a comma, a brief pause before the sentence continues. Life as we know it may be just one small chapter in a book far greater than we can comprehend. When we die, it might not be the end of the story, but the turning of a page. The soul, free from the body, may enter a state of clarity where pain, fear and sorrow no longer exist. It might be a realm where we finally understand the meaning behind everything we experienced. Every joy, every loss, every trial worth. Perhaps death is not a thief that takes life away, but a messenger that leads us home. When we look at nature, we see the reflection of this truth everywhere. The leaf that falls from a tree does not disappear. It becomes part of the soil that gives birth to new life. The sun that sets does not die. It simply moves to light another part of the world. Even the caterpillar, which spends its life crawling on the ground, must enter a dark cocoon, only to emerge as a butterfly, beautiful and free. Why then should humans, the highest form of creation, not have a transformation beyond death? The cycle of creation suggests that nothing truly ends. Everything merely changes its form. So perhaps we too are part of that eternal cycle, shifting from one state of being to another, moving from the physical to the spiritual, from time to timelessness. Think of the moments in life when you felt something greater than yourself. A presence during prayer, an unexplainable calm after losing someone, a whisper of peace in moments of despair. Maybe those are tiny glimpses of the world beyond, signs that the line between life and death is not as distant as we think. Death is not an event that happens to us, it's a return to the source of all things. Just as rivers flow back into the ocean from which they came, perhaps our souls too return to the infinite light from which they were born. There is a reason why people who have faced death often live differently afterward. They lose fear, they love deeper, they forgive easier and they appreciate life more. It's as if they have seen a truth that cannot be expressed in words, that life doesn't end with death. It transforms into something purer. That realization gives life new meaning. Because if we truly understood that we are eternal, that the essence of who we are cannot be destroyed, we would stop fearing death and start living more fully. So, when someone we love passes away, maybe they haven't gone far, maybe they have simply stepped into a light we cannot yet see. The bond of love, the connection of souls, those things never die. They remain invisible but unbroken. Sometimes we feel their presence in dreams, in sudden memories, in moments that feel guided or protected. It's as if they whisper through the silence, reminding us that they still exist, just differently. And maybe, when our own time comes, it will not be a moment of terror, but of peace. Maybe it will feel like waking from a long dream into a greater reality, brighter, calmer, truer. The world beyond death might not be a place of endings, but of beginnings. The journey doesn't stop, it only changes direction. Life after death may not be a myth, but the very truth that gives meaning to our existence. For in the grand design of the universe, nothing truly dies. Not the stars, not the light, not the soul. Everything transforms, everything continues, everything finds its way home. Think of life as a grand stage, vast, luminous and filled with billions of souls, each performing their part in a drama written by the universe itself. Every heartbeat is a dialogue, every breath a scene, every joy and sorrow a lesson in the script of existence. Then one day the lights dim, the curtain falls and silence fills the stage. The world calls it death. But what if, in truth, that silence isn't an end? What if it's only an intermission? A sacred pause before the story continues on another stage, in another form of life we have yet to imagine? Life has a rhythm and death is not its disruption. It is part of the same song. From the moment we are born, we are walking towards something beyond this world. And though we often fear it, death might not be darkness at all. It may be light so bright that our human eyes cannot bear to see it. For centuries, people have wondered about the invisible realm that awaits beyond the final heartbeat. Religions, philosophers, poets, and even scientists have all tried to decipher its secret. Yet no one has returned with complete answers, only fragments of truth wrapped in mystery. Still, these fragments are enough to tell us that death may not be an erasure but a revelation, a doorway through which the soul continues its journey. Think about this, our bodies are fragile, temporary, made of dust and water. They age, break and fade. But our consciousness, our awareness, that silent voice inside us, it feels infinite. Have you ever noticed that the you inside doesn't age? The same sense of E that looked out through the eyes of a child is still looking out through the eyes of an adult. That consciousness, that awareness is not bound by the body. And when the body can no longer carry it, it does not die, it simply moves on. It's like stepping out of an old house and walking into the open air, free and unburdened. Many spiritual traditions describe death not as a destruction, but as a transition. In ancient beliefs, the soul departs from the body like a traveler, leaving behind a worn-out garment. Some say it journeys through dimensions, passing through lights, realms or vibrations that match the energy it carried in life. Those who lived with love, kindness and truth are drawn toward realms of peace and light, while those burdened by hatred or greed must wander through shadows until they find understanding. Every action, every emotion we cultivate in life becomes a map for where our soul will travel after we die. Death then is not random, it's a reflection of the life we lived. Even modern science, with all its tools and theories, has been unable to explain away the mystery of what happens after the body stops functioning. Near-death experiences have shaken the scientific world with their vivid consistency. People across the globe, of all backgrounds, beliefs and cultures, have reported leaving their bodies, floating above hospital beds, seeing loved ones who have passed, and traveling through tunnels toward radiant light. They describe feelings of overwhelming peace, love and unity, a sense that they are part of something vast, eternal and beautiful. And though they return to life, they are forever changed. They fear death no longer because they have tasted what lies beyond it, and it is not terrifying. It is liberating. Imagine standing on the shore, watching a ship sail away. From our side, it seems to grow smaller and smaller until it disappears over the horizon. We say, it's gone. But someone standing on the other shore, seeing that same ship approach, smiles and says, hey, here it comes. Death might be exactly that, not a disappearance but an arrival. The soul leaves this world's shore and reaches another unseen but waiting, where familiar faces welcome it home. To those left behind, it feels like loss, but to the soul, it feels like return. Every culture holds some version of this truth. In Christianity, there is heaven, a place where love never ends. In Islam, the afterlife is a realm of peace and divine reunion. Hinduism and Buddhism speak of reincarnation, where the soul continues learning, evolving, purifying until it reaches enlightenment, freedom from the endless cycle of birth and death. In each of these beliefs, death is not failure. It is progress, it is the universe's way of moving the soul forward, helping it grow toward ultimate understanding. If you've ever lost someone close, you've probably felt something strange, moments when their presence feels near, when a scent, a song or a whisper of wind reminds you of them. That isn't imagination, it's connection. Love doesn't die, it changes form. The bond between souls cannot be broken by physical distance. Perhaps those we mourn are not gone, but simply existing on a frequency our senses can't yet perceive. Maybe death doesn't separate, it only transforms the way we connect. Think of it this way, when the sun sets, it seems to vanish, but we know it hasn't disappeared. It's shining on another part of the world. In the same way, when someone dies, their light doesn't fade, it just shines somewhere else. We might not see it, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Death is not a thief of light, it's the movement of that light to another realm. And if we truly believe this, if we truly understood that death is not the end, our lives would change. We would stop wasting our days on fear, anger or regret. We would live with courage, compassion and gratitude. We would love more deeply, forgive more freely and cherish every breath, knowing that none of it is meaningless. Because everything we do, every emotion we nurture, builds the bridge that will one day carry us into the afterlife. Maybe heaven and hell aren't places far away. Maybe they begin within us right now, shaped by how we live, how we treat others, and how much light we allow into our hearts. If we live in hatred, we create darkness. If we live in love, we create heaven. And when we die, we carry that heaven with us. The afterlife isn't somewhere we go, it's something we grow into. So where do humans go after death? Maybe we go where we have always belonged, back to the source of everything, back to the divine spark that gave us life. We don't vanish, we return. The body falls but the essence rises. The mind sleeps but the soul awakens. Death is not a shadow over life, it is the dawn of eternity. When the heart takes its final beat and silence replaces breath, something extraordinary begins. The body may rest, but the soul rises. You can't feel the weight of the world anymore. The ache of worry, the rush of time, all of it falls away like dust in the wind. In that instant you realize you were never just the body that everyone knew. The skin, the voice, the name, they were temporary clothes worn by something infinite. The real you, the eternal you, has just begun the greatest journey of all. It's a strange, breathtaking moment. You look around and the world you once knew begins to blur. You see faces, lights, colors, yet they don't belong to the same dimension. You try to move, but you're already floating. Effortlessly, peacefully, you turn and there it is, your own body lying still. The shell you once called a me. You used to worry about how it looked, how strong it was, how the world saw it. Now it seems small, fragile, almost unimportant. You understand now, it was never who you were. It was a temporary vessel for the traveler that you've always been. As you drift through the unseen, the noise of the world fades, replaced by an overwhelming calm. There's no fear here, no confusion, only awareness. You can feel everything, the love of those you left behind, their tears, their whispers, their prayers. You want to reach out to tell them, I'm still here, but words no longer belong to you. Instead, you communicate through presence, through a gentle energy that wraps around them like invisible arms. You begin to realize that love never dies, it transforms. It travels beyond sound and sight, living in a vibration. The living cannot yet hear. The journey continues. You begin to see the truth of everything you ever did, every choice, every intention, every moment that shaped your life replays, not to condemn but to reveal. You feel the joy you gave to others, the pain you caused, the love you shared, the moments you wasted. Nothing is hidden. You understand that life wasn't about wealth or fame or power, it was about growth. Every soul you met was a mirror showing you a lesson. Some taught you kindness, others tested your patience. Each moment was designed perfectly, even the ones that hurt. You realize that death doesn't erase your story, it completes it, ties together the loose threads of your life and shows you the meaning behind every event you once questioned. The people who left you too soon, the failures that broke your spirit, the victories that made you proud, all of them had a purpose. The soul sees what the mind never could, that everything was happening for you, not to you. Every storm was guiding you closer to the true you are. As you move further into this unseen realm, the light around you grows stronger. It's not blinding, it's alive, breathing, conscious. You feel it calling you not with words but with recognition, as if it has known you forever. You follow it without hesitation because for the first time you're not afraid. The journey feels familiar, like returning home after a long exile. You begin to understand that this light is not outside of you. It's been within you all along, waiting for you to remember. And then comes the realization that shakes your very being. Nothing from the material world comes with you. Not your possessions, not your name, not your achievements. The cars, the money, the trophies, they fade like shadows. Only your actions, your love, your truth remain. The kindness you gave to a stranger shines brighter than gold. The forgiveness you offered when it was hardest to give becomes your armor. The compassion you carried becomes your wings. The soul travels light, carrying only the weight of its deeds. You think back to the world you left behind. You see people rushing, competing, fighting over things that have no meaning beyond the grave. You wish they could see what you see now, that the greatest success isn't how high you climb but how pure your heart becomes. You wish you could whisper to them, slow down, breathe, love, forgive. Because in the end, all that survives is the good you've done. You see clearly now that every act of love was a seed planted in eternity. The harvest is waiting for you on this side. As the light grows brighter, memories begin to dissolve. The pain of life fades completely. Every scar, every regret, every fear melts into understanding. You begin to feel as though you are becoming the light itself. There's no separation between you and the divine presence surrounding you. You realize that what people on earth call God was never distant. It was here, within you, all along. The separation was an illusion created by fear and ego. Now that both are gone, all that remains is unity. The hidden journey after death is not about punishment or reward, it's about truth. It's where the masks fall and only the essence remains. It's where you meet yourself without filters, where every lie dissolves and every truth shines. The soul learns that heaven and hell were never places, they were choices, created by the life you lived and the love you gave. The more love you carry, the lighter you become and the closer you move toward the source of light. You begin to feel others around you, souls glowing like stars. Some are radiant, peaceful, their energy soft and pure. Others flicker faintly, heavy with lessons still to learn. You understand that the journey doesn't end here, it continues. Every soul grows, evolves, ascends until it becomes light itself. Time doesn't exist in this realm, because growth happens in awareness, not in minutes or years. You see the truth that life and death are two sides of the same divine rhythm, both created to awaken you. And in that realization, something magnificent happens. You no longer feel separate from anything. You sense the heartbeat of the universe pulsing through you. The stars, the oceans, the wind, the galaxies, all connected, all alive within the same divine breath. You understand that you were never small, you were never insignificant. You are a fragment of infinity, sent to earth to experience what it means to be human, to love, to lose, to remember your own divinity through the struggle of existence. The hidden journey after death is not something to dread, it's something to live for. Because knowing that this journey awaits makes you want to live better now, to love without condition, to forgive without hesitation, to give without expecting anything in return, to leave behind not wealth but warmth, not monuments but memories that heal others even when you're gone. That is the true preparation for the next world, to live in such a way that death finds you empty of regrets but full of light. If people understood what really happens after death, they wouldn't fear it, they would honor it. They would see it as the soul's graduation, the moment when illusion ends and truth begins. They would stop wasting time on hate and start investing it in love. They would stop chasing things that fade and start building things that last forever. Kindness, empathy, courage, faith. Because the soul carries only what it has given, not what it has taken. And so, as your soul continues its journey through the unseen, you finally understand that the end of breath was never the end of life. Life doesn't end, it evolves. Consciousness doesn't vanish, it expands. Death doesn't erase your existence, it reveals who you were all along. An immortal traveler moving from form to formlessness, from separation to oneness, from fear to infinite life. So before that final breath comes, live. Don't just exist, live with purpose. Stop waiting for tomorrow, because tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. Forgive those who never said sorry, love those who forgot to love you back, and chase the dreams that scare you the most. Because one day your heartbeat will fall silent, but your story doesn't have to. Make it a story worth remembering, Make it a story that echoes even after you're gone. Don't let fear of death keep you from the beauty of life. Death is not your enemy, so speak kindly even when the world is cruel. Give hope when others give up. Stand tall when life tries to break you, because your soul is eternal and everything you do here shapes what comes next. Every time you choose love over hate, light over darkness, truth over comfort, you rise, you evolve. You prepare your soul for that hidden journey waiting beyond the stars. So when that moment comes, when your eyes close for the last time and the world fades into silence, don't be afraid. Smile, because you didn't just survive life, you conquered it. You didn't just live for yourself, you lived for something eternal. And when your soul takes its first step beyond the veil, it will shine, not with regret but with gratitude. Because you'll know deep within, you lived fully, you loved deeply, and you left behind a light that will never die.